Hey guys, in this video we're going to learn about the cranial meninges, the connective tissue protective wrappers that are around the brain. So I'm going to start sharing my screen with you now, and you'll be able to see our PowerPoint slides that I posted on Blackboard. So the cranial meninges are a protective coating that goes around the brain. They are so you have brain, then you have the meninges, then you have the skull. So actually, the outer layer of the meninges, which is called the dura mater, is continuous with the periosteum of the skull bones. So why do we need these meninges, or how did they help us? Because we know that the bone is already, or the brain is already being protected by those pretty sturdy skull bones, but the meninges help by helping to hold the brain in place, protecting the blood vessels that are delivering the blood to the brain, allowing a space for cerebrospinal fluid to circulate, and they also help to divide the brain into different compartments. So we're going to see that there are dividers between the left and the right side of the brain, the cerebrum and the cerebellum, and so on. The meninges help to make these partitions. So here's a nice diagram from your textbook that shows you where the meninges are. So down here, this guy is the brain down here. So here's the brain. And remember, the brain has the gray matter, the cerebral cortex on the outside. So here's your cerebral cortex. And then here's your white matter down here, the myelinated axons of neurons. So this is my brain down here, this kind of pinkish layer and white layer. This is the cerebral cortex of the brain and the white matter of the brain. Now, if you look right on the surface of the brain, really going down into all the sulci. This is called the pia mater, and pia mater means gentle mother. So you can think of the pia mater as gently hugging the brain, and like I said, it goes in, covers all the gyri and goes into all the sulci, as you can see right here. So that pia mater is the gentle mother that's right on the surface of the brain. Then you'll notice here's our next layer. It's called the arachnoid matter. So arachnoid is a word that we associate with spiders. So this layer kind of looks like a spider web. So you'll notice, and it's quite important, there is a space between these two layers. So here's my arachnoid matter. Here is my pia mater, and there's a space in between that's called the subarachnoid space. So they have it labeled right here. So in the subarachnoid space, cerebrospinal fluid will be circulating in this space. So if you ever see a question asking you what fluid or what substance is found in the subarachnoid space, CSF is in the subarachnoid space. So this was our pia, this was our arachnoid, and then our last layer is called the dura mater, which literally means tough mother. So you'll see that the dura mater is actually two layers. There's a periosteal layer and a meningeal layer. The periosteal layer is continuous with the periosteum, the connective tissue coating of the bones of the skull. So this is our skull bone right here, and then here's our skin of our scalp, and our hair would be growing out here, right? So you can see that the pia, arachnoid, and dura, if you start at the brain and work your way out, that's the order from deep to superficial. So the pia is right on the brain, the arachnoid is in the middle, and then the dura is the most superficial one closest to the skull bones. Now let's look at some other important features. So when we learned about the circulation of CSF, we learned that the CSF was traveling through these in the subarachnoid space, and then at the arachnoid villi, these little valves, the CSF was discharged into this large blood vessel, which is called the superior sagittal sinus. So this is a large vein that comes down the sagittal kind of line, the medial line off your skull, and it's right there, and it picks up the CSF. So when the arachnoid villi dump the CSF in there, the vein is going to take it into the systemic circulation, so we can get rid of all the toxins and waste products that were picked up. So people often remember that the meninges pad the brain, because this tells you the names pia, arachnoid, dura, right, of the 3 layers. And remember, on the test, you have to put both names, pia mater, arachnoid mater, dura mater. You have to make sure to include that second word, the mater. So here it's just reminding you that the pia mater is the gentle mother that's on the surface of the brain. The arachnoid mater is important because of the space that's underneath. That's where your CSF is circulating around the outside of the brain. And then the dura mater is the tough mother, this really thick 2 layers of tissue that's going to make a very thick, firm protective coating for the brain. And remember, the dura mater is continuous with the periosteum of the skull. So again, here's the same picture. It's just highlighting the structures for you. So here's a real human brain, and you can see the dura mater, the tough mother. So see this kind of leathery bag that the brain is inside? This is your dura mater, your tough mother. And notice that the dura mater comes right into that longitudinal fissure. So it helps to separate the right side of the brain from the left side of the brain. And also it'll come in here between the cerebellum and the cerebrum to separate those areas as well. So remember, the meninges is linked up with the cerebrospinal fluid because the cerebrospinal fluid is circulating in that subarachnoid space and being dumped through the arachnoid villus, which are structures that are part of this meninges idea. So that's everything you need to know about the meninges. So in our next video, we're going to be moving on to learning about cranial nerves, what they are and what they do.